Hey everyone, welcome to the webinar. Looks like everybody's jumping in right now, so I am going to we still have a minute here, so we'll let everyone jump in. I'm gonna grab a drink of water one more time. All right. Well, we are on time here. So I just want to say, first of all, welcome. We're excited to have you. I am very, very excited for this webinar because we have not done a webinar on cruises in a really long time. So we are excited to get back to business here and do a cruise webinar. It's one of my personal favorites. So really, really excited. But just want to say again, welcome to this webinar today. And as Scott mentioned, it's being recorded. I'll also mention that here in a second too. But this webinar here today is just here to create show-stopping cruise proposal and itineraries on Travefy. So that's what you're going to see today. So the title is exactly what's going to happen. But we decided to do this webinar just because of with the recent news that just keeps coming out with cruises resuming. We've been seeing so much interest in booking cruises on Travefy with agents and it for end of this year into 2022 and beyond. So it feels like a good time. The other thing that's also happened recently is Travefy has recently partnered with Clea, which we're super pumped about. We're really excited to work with them. So this just felt like the perfect time to host a webinar all about cruises in Travefy. So, before we get started, to quickly introduce myself, I am Stephanie Grice, and I'm the Senior Client Champion Education Coordinator here at Travefy. But we also have Scott Rutz on. He's in the back. We like to say he's kind of behind the curtain doing chatting. So if you ask a question, you might get a reply from Scott back there. So he's on this with us, helping us out. But Scott's part of our founding team and on the sales and marketing team here at Travefy as well. But what we're going to do today during this webinar is we are going to start off with building a proposal that can so we can show you how you can use Travefy to create this workflow. So we're going to go from proposal to itinerary because I really just want to show you the entire process of how you can use Travefy. And then we'll turn that into an itinerary and you can see that. Then we're going to show you how to quickly turn that into an itinerary, but also show you what that looks like for your clients as well. And then we'll add some more information to the trip too that you might do again in your workflow. And then finally, I am going to share helpful ways that you can market these trips using Travefy. So it's a little bit of a bonus today is that we're not just going to show you how you build these itineraries and proposals, but also how you use this for marketing because Travefy can also help you with marketing. So we're going to show you how you can do that. And then at the end, we will have time for a Q&A. So get your questions in that chat box and we will hopefully get to those at the end here. Now, a couple things I want to mention here before I go to the next slide is, as I mentioned earlier, this webinar is being recorded. So after this webinar concludes, just give us an hour or so and we'll get it posted on our YouTube channel. So that's where you're going to be able to go find that at. And then also we'll have time for questions at the end. But we also realize sometimes we are not able to get to all the questions. So if we don't get to your question or you think of something afterwards as you get digging through and Travefy in your own account, feel free to reach out to our support team. I'm part of the support team, so you might just talk to me. But go ahead and just send us an email at professional@travify.com and we can help out in there. But we also do offer one on one demos and trainings. So if you feel like you want a one on one with us after you see all this, let us know and we can schedule that. So we are here to help you out all that we can. So definitely reach out to us there. But before we get started building a cruise proposal and itinerary, I do want to give you a quick overview of everything else that Travefy has to offer. Since we won't have time to go through everything here today, but also if there's any new people on this webinar, I want to show you everything Travefy does. And even if you started Travefy years ago and you haven't used it for a while, you're probably going to realize that there's new stuff in there because we've added so much in the past couple years. Aside from the itinerary and proposal solution that you're going to see today, we also offer a simple CRM system that allows you to capture client information securely, including credit card authorization and e-signature. So that's the latest thing. Really, really exciting there. Another thing that we have built is a simple website builder. So this is really cool, and this is going to help you with those marketing needs. So you're going to get a sneak peek in a little bit later because I'm going to show you inside of there. We won't go too in depth, but I am going to show you how that can correlate with the cruise trips that we're building today. And here's the best part. This is all included in your Travefy subscription. So if there's anyone on here who has not tried Travefy, go to travify.com after this, start a free 10-day trial, and then get on one of those demos or trainings. Or if you already have Travefy, hop in there and check these out because there's so many new features in there that you might not have seen in there yet. So, with that being said, let me switch now to my account because now we want to get into the nitty gritty of why we're here today. We want to build a cruise itinerary together. But as I mentioned, I'm going to build this as a proposal first because I really want to show you the workflow. But you'll see as I'm building this proposal that it's very similar to an itinerary. So it'll all make a lot of sense to you. But first, I'm in my account here. So if you've never seen Travefy before, this is what it looks like. And when you're ready to create a new trip, you click New Trip. Now, you can choose itinerary or proposal. I'm going to choose that proposal because we're starting out in that option. But no matter what you choose, though, they're both going to be the same type of trip builder. But the proposal allows your client to approve it. So that's really the difference of what this is going to be. And you're going to see that approval process after we get done here too. So we'll walk through all of that. So now that we're in a new trip here, I am going to go ahead and I am going to get just the basic information on this trip. So the first thing I want to do is let's give it a cover photo. This sun is beautiful, but it's not really reflecting the cruise that I'm going to send my clients on, or I'm trying to send them on. So I'm going to just choose change cover photo. And we have thousands of free stock photos that you can use. So you could just go ahead and type in a generic term. Like I'm going to say Mediterranean because this is going to be a Mediterranean cruise. So I'm just going to search that. But you can also upload your own photo. If you want to pull in a picture of the ship, you could do that. Or if you want to pull one from a website or copy, you can do that as well. So you're not limited at all to just these pictures that I'm choosing. But I'm going to go ahead and just choose this photo right here. Just really simple photo there. So I'm going to save that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my settings. So if you go into your trip settings here, I'm going to go ahead and give this a title. Really important to give it a title because as you begin building more trips, you're going to need to know which one you're going into. So that's the importance of that. And then we can also give it a trip start date now here as well. And I'm going to select a trip start date. It's April of 2022. So I'm going to go into that date. But I'm actually going to choose April 15th because we have a couple day of pre-cruise. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that. Now, if you do select just the cruise date and then they want to add some days before later on, you can do that. You're not stuck at this date. So that's the nice thing. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and select April 15th. And then I can also add a price, but I'm going to come back to that. I don't want to jump ahead too much there. And then I'm going to throw in a quick description. Oops. I switched the date. Let me go back. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is just say save changes. That's all. So we're just going to keep it really simple. Just give it that name, that date. And then what we're going to do is start adding our information to this trip. Now, what's really awesome about Travefy is we have a full database of cruises for any of your major ocean or river cruise lines. You're going to find it in here. And so that's what's really incredible. And this is the most magical part of this whole webinar is adding the cruise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the cruise. So watch me do this here. So this cruise departs on the 17th of April. So I'm going to add a couple days here so that I can get into the correct day because that's how Travefy is locating it is by searching for it on this day. So I'm in this day. Now what I'm going to do next, I'm going to click the new event button. From here, I'm selecting cruise. And then what you get to do is look it up. It's so simple. I'm not even kidding. It will take a second to do. Just go ahead and search for the cruise line that you're looking for. And you can see here as I scroll through all the major ocean river cruise lines, they're in here. In this particular example that I'm sharing today, I'm going to do Norwegian. And then you can see all the cruise ships listed. This is cruise ship Epic. And then you can see the different cruise options that come in. This one that I want is the 7-day Western Mediterranean cruise. So I'm going to go ahead and say get itinerary. Now it's going to take a second here to load because what it's going to do is it's going to load all of the ports of call and let us view them before we add them. So this is really important to just check it over and make sure this is the cruise you want to add because it's about to add all of these days on the itinerary for you. So once I can confirm this is good to go, I'm going to say add to itinerary. And here's my favorite part. I wish I had a drum roll thing to go because it's going to load all of this information. Just think drum roll in your head to see. Here it is. So here's what it does. It adds everything. So we have the first day, we have all the information. We get deck plans, even. We have a map of that cruise. We have the picture of the ship. I mean, we've got it all. And then we also have all the days of when it's arriving and departing these locations. So it's pretty awesome. Again, you're just going to get, so it'll add all of this information for you. And what's great too is this is a proposal and it's not booked, but you can still add it. So it doesn't need to be booked. That's what's really great about this too. It's just a database, so you can add it whenever you want. Um, of course, if you want to edit any of this, you could do that. If you want to customize this further, you certainly can do that. All of this is editable and customizable. So feel free to do that as well. But another thing that I want to show you, here's a little tip. So one thing, and actually this is Scott's tip. So I am stealing this from him. He's seen it before and it's a really cool idea of creating an event that says meet your ship. So it's kind of like a small event that's just about, what this ship is. And it's great for proposals in this case. So it's just a quick blurb about it. So I'm going to make this. I'm going to show you how I do it. So I'm going to create a new event here and I'm just going to make it an info event because that's what this would be. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out the title and I'm going to say meet your ship Norwegian epic. So that's what I'm going to do. Next, what I can do is I can add in the notes section, some information about the ship. Now I'm going to make it easy. I'm going directly to the ship's website and I'm just going to copy and paste this. So I went to you can see I'm on the Norwegian Epic website and I'm just going to copy and paste what they have there and just paste that in. Voila. And now for the really fun part to make this really pop, we're going to add photos and we're going to add photos that's coming from Norwegian. So this is one of the coolest features. So in any event that you create, and I'm going to do this again, but in any event that you create, there's a multimedia section where you can add up to 5 photos or videos. And when you have that option, you have our free stock photos you can use, like you saw in the cover photos. You can also upload your own copy, you can pull a video in, but you can also pull from a website. So what I did is I'm just pasting the website of the cruise ship in here. I'm going to say get images and look at this. I have all these images that I can choose from. Now I can go ahead. I just want to add some pictures of the ship in here. Really easy, as you can see. The other thing that I would recommend with these cruise ships is most cruise ship, I think pretty much all of them should have a video on YouTube or Vimeo. And you can always copy and paste a video in here as well. So it's a really easy way to add so much to this. So I just went ahead and I pulled a video from YouTube here, and I'm just going to copy and paste it in, save those changes. That's it. Now I'm going to a little OCD here about this. I'm just going to drag and drop the video to be front and center. So that is first, and then the videos are next. But then look at how this looks. So you just say done editing, but now you just have this nice little event that's just a blurb about the ship with photos and a video. So everything they want to know is pretty much in that event that we just created. And it did not take long to make. Now, one thing that I highly recommend doing is save this to your library. That way, anytime you're going to send someone on the Norwegian Epic, it is saved. So you can save this to your library. And then on the right-hand side, whenever you're ready to reuse that, you can drag and drop it right in. So it's really easy to do. We're going to come back to the library here in a little bit too, because again, I just want to keep touching on it because it's such an easy way. Save that information, reuse it again, really quick and easy. Another thing I can do is I'm just going to rearrange this day so then that way meet your ship is at the top. That way it's kind of like, here's everything you need to know. And then here's what this particular cruise is all about. So that's just a nice little hot tip there that you can add is that meet your ship option. So now we're moving to the next part. You're probably wondering, okay, how do I add cabin options? So to add cabin options, you can do this many different ways. You could come into this event right here and edit and add those. But I like to keep things organized. So I'm going to create a new event and list just to list out the cabin options. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new event and I'm going to choose lodging. But I'm going to say add lodging information manually because the only reason why I'm doing this is that way I have the lodging icon, like of the bed, so they know like this is where you're staying. So that's why I'm choosing that. But you could choose a different event option too or category. But then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say cabin option and pricing. And then what you can do is then in the notes section right down here, just click that. This is where you can list out all the different room options. Now, you could create an event for each cabin option. A lot of people will do that because that way you can add photos that are just specific for that type of cabin. So you could just create one of these each time. But I'm going to add two options in here. And I want to utilize a new feature that Travefy has recently dropped, which is tables. This is something that so many people have been asking for, and we have delivered, and it is perfect for a situation like this. So if you ever want to add a table, you can add just say insert table, choose what it's going to look like. But I actually have already created, I'm just copying and pasting. So if you copy and paste from somewhere else, it will format in here as well. So you can see what I did here, where I just created a table where I have two options. I just have the name of it, just quick notes, and then the pricing below. You could add way more than this. So this is just an example, but this is just kind of how I want to show you so that you can use those tables because, again, this is a perfect scenario of when you might want to use those tables. And then again, if you want to add photos, you definitely could add photos in here or videos to show the difference of those different cabin options. And then I'm just going to say done editing. And there we go. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. Now, if you have any questions on that, let me know because we can come back to this as well. And I can show you different ways. If there's certain ways that you like to add your cabin options and you're wondering how we would do that, let us know and I can help show you too. But the next thing that I want to show you here is also adding excursions and tours. So you can't sell what you don't share. So we always really encourage you to put tour options or excursions when it's a proposal to fluff it up, but also to show them what's possible and make more money. Not a bad thing, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of ways that you can add some excursions in here. So what I'm going to do is I have a couple excursions that I found before this. So I'm going to go in. It's April 19th. It's when they go to Naples. There's a couple excursions that I want to give them. So let's build one together, and then I'm going to pull one from my library to show you how I do that. So I'm going to build one here, and I'm just going to say new event, and I'm going to choose activity in this case. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a title. So I'm just going to copy and paste what I've had. I'm taking this from Norwegian Cruise Line too. So even though you're wondering like, well, of course this is easy for you because you already have it. I'm doing literally the same thing. So it's very easy. I'm just going onto their website and copying and pasting what they have because it's easy. Just copy and paste it in there. And then I can also go ahead and add a price because that's important. So we do have a pricing field on each event that you can use, which is especially handy when you're building a proposal or a quote here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put in the price of this. You can choose what currency it is as well. And then I can also add photos. Always encourage a photo because it just really brings it to life, especially when you're trying to sell it. So I just am going to go ahead and copy and paste from their website again. So I'm just going to click on the multimedia. I'm going to choose the website option because that's where I'm pulling from. Paste that in. And then I'm just going to pull a couple of these images. There's not as many on this one, so I'm just going to pull those two. And then just say done editing. There it is. Again, so simple. It is amazing. And then you can also rearrange this to make it correct. So obviously they'd be doing the optional excursion in the middle of or before they depart. So As you can see, really easy. Now, again, these are those types of things that you should save to your library. So if I add this, then I can go ahead and say save to library, and then that way it is saved. Now, I have another excursion that I've already saved to my library, so I can show you how I bring that in. So this one that I have is for Pompeii. So I'm just going to start searching. You can see it's coming up right there, but I'm still going to click search so I can show you how I drag and drop it in. But what I can do is I can either drag and drop it in, but there's also a little plus icon you can click there and it'll add it. But check it out. That's all I need to do. And now if I need to go in and edit, and change something for this person or add a price in there, I can do that. But that's always a good thing. So if you ever have certain tours, excursions that you recommend or other clients have recommended, save them in here, and then you'll just always have them. Like I just labeled mine Norwegian Cruise Line excursion, so it's easy to find. And we have a label system too, for your library, so you can quickly find things that you're looking for. So again, just saves time. So you definitely want to save that time there. So now that we've added our excursions, cabin options, the cruise, now I want to talk about pre and post. So I'm not going to do as much post because it's pretty straightforward once you see how the pre is. But there's a lot of times you got that pre stuff going on, and you have your flights afterwards, things like that. So in this case, I want to show you how I add that pre cruise information. So first, let's add the flights. That's the first thing they have on this trip. So when I'm adding the flights, I'm going to go to the first day here. Now, if you don't know the flight, I'm going to say that I know the flight so I can pull it up. But if you don't know what the flight is, you can add an event and you can click flight and then just say add flights manually and fill this out and give them options of what they could do and like what pricing would look like. So you could do it that way if you don't know the flights. But in this case, I want to show you how to pull in a flight if you do know it. So I'm going to go ahead and say new event and choose flight. Now I'm going to go ahead and type in the airline. So if this is the first time you've ever seen this feature in Travefy, this is another one that's really amazing tool. And it's very similar to the cruises where you just are looking it up. And I'm just typing in the flight number and the airline. There it is from JFK to Barcelona. Add it. And there it is. And you can see that it falls into that next day because that's when they arrive. So it's really intuitive. That's the great thing too, is especially when you're crossing those international days and stuff, then it's going to fall in the way that it should. So really awesome. You can see it fall in there. So now that brings me into Saturday when they actually get there and they're going to stay at a hotel that first day before they depart on their cruise. So I'm going to add a hotel here. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to click new event and I'm going to choose lodging. And I'm actually just going to look this up. And this is again, if you're giving them different options of places, you can do it one by one, like I'm doing right here. So I'm going to say they're staying at the El Palace Hotel in Barcelona, or that's the one that I'm putting into this package. And I'm just going to go ahead and I found it in Travefy in the database. So I'm just going to go ahead and say add to the itinerary. And there it is. So we have the check-in and then we also have the checkout, which we'll need to rearrange and move to the top. So you might have to do a little bit of that depending on how your workflow is and how you're adding things. But otherwise, we have the check-in and checkout. Really simple. But again, this is a proposal and we want to sell this. So let's add more to the hotel. So I'm just going to quickly add some information. I'm just going to edit this. And then I could add a price in here if I wanted. But I'm going to add some notes. Again, I am literally copying and pasting this from the supplier. So you could do the same, really easy to do. And then, of course, we're going to use the handy dandy photo website tool because why not? If you can add photos to really sell a place, you should. So you can see I'm just putting in that website and here they all come again. So I can go ahead and choose these pictures. If I want to choose any of these, I can do that. Really awesome. Super simple. Done editing. There we go. So now we have pretty much our pre-cruise information already done. But There is one more thing I want to show you because this is another Travefy feature that I cannot leave alone. I can't let it go unsaid during this webinar. Is we also have city guides. So city guides are really amazing. It's destination content that you can quickly bring in, and we have over 625 destinations worldwide. So how to add those though is you'll just go over to your library on the right hand side and choose city guides. Click that, type in the name of the city you're looking for. They're in Barcelona, so that's what I'm going to type in. So I'm going to choose Barcelona. Now, I could add this entire guide, which I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to click that plus icon to add it because I want you to see everything it adds because it adds so much information, which is a really good thing. But sometimes if you don't need that much, you can pick and choose sections. So you don't have to add everything like this does. You can pick and choose certain sections. You can also just add certain places. So if you just want to customize and add a few different options for them, you can pull those in too. But look at everything it does. Look at all this information. And then, of course, you can edit this. Again, like everything in Travefy, you can customize anything in here. So you can edit all of that in here. Really easy, super simple. But you can also use these city guides for ports that they might be visiting as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So I'm doing this for a pre cruise destination, but it could also be like if they're going to Naples, for example, I could have pulled it in for Naples. So just keep that in the back of your head about those city guides because always just really quick, easy way to add so much information. Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is probably the most important one is pricing. How do you add pricing? Because this is a proposal. So there's a couple different ways, and I'm just going to walk through those different ways that you can do it. So one is you can add a full trip price in the trip settings. So you can see there's a pricing field here. You could add a full trip price right there. And you can, what's nice is you can say like 4,500 to 6,000. So if you need to put a range, you can do that. And you can say per person, however you want to display that. And I'll show you where that displays as well. You can also use this description area. You can put pricing in there, break it down. But one thing that I would probably recommend if you have a lot of different pricing is utilize the information and document section up here. So right at the top, you'll see the information document section. This is a great place to just put anything that doesn't have to do with a particular day. And that it's just, that's the special area for everything else. So, like trip insurance, for example, great place to put that. Terms and conditions, cancellation policy, all of that should go in here. But you can also add a new event in here and then just say, pricing and information or pricing information. In there and then just go ahead and break it all down. You could use that table again. So if you want to break down, like, here's what the cruise is costing, here's what the cabin, hotel, excursions, things like that, whatever you want. But it's just a great place to put. Here, I'm just going to add a description just so it looks kind of put together. But this is a good place where it can be a lot of information and it's going to be hidden away from all the other stuff. So that's why that's a great place for adding that. So let me show you to bring this all together and to explain what that pricing and information documents would look like. I'm just going to preview it here really quick. And you can see here. So here's where that pricing lands. You can see the pricing up here, and it's also by the approval button. But as I scroll through here, here's where the magic happens. Look at this. And you can also click and view, expand those. This is our city guide. So this is a lot of information. Remember, the city guides is quite a bit. So you can choose to keep some of that in or not. But then here we get to that, here's that video. So you can watch that video if you wanted. Look at the pictures that we've included. I mean, it's so much. And look at how quick we made this too. So it's just really incredible. There's that table that we created. Those excursions we added all in there. Now that information document's going to appear at the bottom. So it'll be down here. So it's kind of nice because they're scrolling through and looking at how amazing it is. And then they see the pricing below. So you can do it that way. Or again, you can add pricing throughout or just at the top, whatever you want to do. But now I want to go through the approval process with you. So, since I did start this as a proposal, let's say that you send this to your client, and how you send it to them is you can just link this link right here, that Travefy link, or if your domain mask might not say Travefy, but you can send it through here as well. Just click send an email. But really, what they'll do is they're just going to be able to approve this at the top where it says approve proposal. And when I click that, I'm just going to pretend, let's just pretend we are Susie Q here. And we'll just say she also works at Travefy, but we'll just put in the email and full name. You can also create your own terms and conditions or custom terms in here. That's in your settings, so you can always change that as well. And then we will approve it. And then it's approved. And once this gets approved, you're going to get an email notifying you that the client has approved it. And then your client also gets an email confirming they approved it as well. But here's what gets better. So it's approved now, which is awesome. But in your account now, you can see that it was approved. And this is actually a PDF copy of what they approved. So your client's going to get that. And then you always have it to access right in here as well. So that's kind of what's really nice. That's why the approval process I recommend if you do want to go through that workflow, because then you do have a PDF copy of, if you need to go back to the record, say, this is what you approved. So that's one thing that's really nice there. But now, once it's approved, it turns into an itinerary. So when we preview it now, the client's going to have the option to download the mobile app or get a PDF of this. So that's what changes. But the link doesn't change. So your client can still access this, which is really awesome. But now that it's approved and it's an itinerary, there's a couple things that you might change in here. Like maybe we're going to remove the pricing. We no longer need that. It's already in there. I can go ahead and I'm just going to remove the cabin option and pricing. And then maybe they ended up booking a tour. So you go into that excursion that you have, and maybe you actually have a confirmation now and you have a confirmation number. You can attach a document of that confirmation as well in there. So it's really easy. I mean, there's not much we need to change unless they're changing or adding days ahead or things like that. But other than that, though, it's ready to go. So you can see that even though I started out as a proposal, I pretty much built it the same way you would build an itinerary, adding all that information. I was just adding more options and pricing in there. So that is really the basis of creating this trip. Very simple, as you can see, but lots of opportunity to add tons of your own stuff. Those photos really market this. Now, speaking of marketing, I want to show you a couple things. So this is a little bonus we wanted to add on. There are so many different ways that you can market using Travefy, and I want to show you 2 ways to do that. So let's say this is a trip, especially as these cruises start getting booked. It is such a great and easy way to build an itinerary in Travefy, marketing a cruise, because you can just pull it in, maybe add some more information to it, and then put it out on social media. So I'm going to show you how you do this. It's really easy. So let's say, for example, I wouldn't be using the Smiths family. I'd probably copy this and take out their confirmation numbers, things like that. But just saying, I'll use this one as an example. Now I'm just going to copy that URL, but you can also click the send button and say get trip link, and then just say copy web link. And then I'm going to go on to Facebook. So I'm going to go on here, and you're actually going to get to see this. So that's what's really cool is if I say create post, and I paste in that URL. First of all, I'll paste that in. And you can see the photo. So this is one of those times that maybe if I put the cruise ship on there, it might look really cool because you would see the cruise ship on that photo. But let me put a status so people who aren't on this webinar know why we're posting this. But you can go to our Facebook page and check this out right now. So I'm going to post it because I want to show you what this looks like. It's really cool. So, and it formats beautifully. So look at that. That's all it's going to do. So now we have this link here. Click on it, and we're taken to this. So it's a great marketing tool and very simple, extremely simple. That's why I always like to show it because it just looks really cool in there and formats nicely. Now, the last one that I want to show, and then we'll get into Q&A, is I also want to show you how you can utilize the website feature. Because like I said at the beginning, the website tool is free in your account. So It's not, I mean, I shouldn't say free, but it's part of your account already. So if you already have a Travefy account, you have access to the website builder. So why not use that? A lot of people, even if you have your own website, you can use this as a landing page to market trips. So I'm going to show you how you can do that. So just click on your name on the top right hand corner, click website. That's how you access this. So I've already started to build my little fake website here because just my fake agency. And so I have this a little built here. But what's really great is that with since this is in Travefy, we can pull in trips that you've created in your account so that you can market them on your website. So that's what a lot of agents are doing with this website builder. So I'm going to show you how to pull that in. So first, you want to choose the element that's the card gallery. And the card gallery will already be added no matter what. We have different themes you can choose from and it'll be added, but otherwise you can just press new element and then find the card gallery and bring it in. But what you can do is we're just going to edit this card. Well, let's call the little card. I'm just going to edit it. And then down at the bottom, you have the option to import from Travefy. So I'm going to import from Travefy and I'm going to import a trip. And here is that Western Mediterranean cruise that we just built. And so I can go ahead and I can give it a title if I wanted as well, or I can put pricing in it, things like that, any info about it. I'm just going to say info here. So do whatever you'd like in there, and then I'm going to save it. And then this is where the fun part happens. So I'm going to preview it, and this is what it looks like at this website. See where it says that Mediterranean cruise? If I click view trip, here's what it looks like. So this looks familiar to you because this is what we've seen already. But notice at the top how it says contact. So that's the thing. This is turned into a marketing tool because now they can contact you. If they're interested in this or they have questions, they can contact you directly from this trip. So that's what's awesome. Again, highly recommend utilizing the website builder to market those trips that you create, especially cruises. I mean, you could add so you can focus on certain cruises going on. And load them up and just put them on your website just to promote them. So, really easy way to do that. So, I just want to make sure to walk through that and show you all the incredible things that you can do in there. But with that, I know there's a lot of questions. So, I'm going to take a drink of water and start answering those. Okay, so the first question here is from Doug. Can I create custom city guides for ports that Travefy does not have a city guide for and then reuse them? Yes, you can. Let me show you how you do that. So let me get out of my website really quick here. Let me go back to our trip. So what you can do is you can always build. So I'm going to create a new trip here so that I don't mess with what we put on Facebook. But what you can do is just click a new event and then choose info. And then there's a subcategory option that says city guide. And then in here, you can go ahead and start creating it. So we could just say, I'm just going to say city name. And then you can put in your notes and then type in the places. So down here is where you add places. So like if I put the Louvre, for example, you can just pull those in. So you can like stack all those different places one by one in there. And then just click save to library and save it. So really easy way to do that. Nick said, can I add restaurant recommendations with maps to pre or post? Yeah. So I would do it the same way that I was actually doing this. So you could add it as an activity instead, and then like food and drink. And then you can say, restaurant recommendations. And then you could make a bulleted list in here too if you wanted. So you can make a bulleted list of the places, but then you can type in the name of those places down here, or you can add them manually. And then that way you can add like the website, phone number, address, all of that good stuff. Or it's probably already in there, but if you want to add it manually, you can. But yeah, that certainly is a really good idea there. Carolyn asked, can I share these cruise itineraries on Facebook or Facebook ads? So we already showed that. So I know that came in probably before I did that. But yeah, and same with Facebook ads. I've actually heard of a lot of agents doing that where they will have, they'll link it using Facebook ads. So that's definitely a great one. And again, it's just such a great way to showcase a trip and market it. Rita asked if a cruise line updates an itinerary, does it live update on Travefy? So it won't live update in Travefy, but we should be getting updates. So let's say, for example, you haven't added it yet, or maybe you did add it. You can go in and delete all those old events and then re-add it if you want. We also will let you know if we're no longer getting updates on it. So sometimes, like, if there's a cruise that if we're not receiving updates for it any longer and it hasn't happened, we'll have a little asterisk next to it and it'll say we're no longer receiving updates, so that way you can just double check and make sure everything is still up to date there. But otherwise our data feed will give us the updated one. It just won't update what's already on your itinerary, if that makes sense. James asks, can I create cruise itineraries without it being date specific? So that is, I'm glad you asked that actually. So yes and no. So you can, but you're going to have to add dates first. So what you will have to do, so this might make it a little different. So actually, as I'm thinking out loud here, so let me show you what I'm thinking here. So if you want to add one with a cruise, so you would need to know the date it's departing. So you would need to know it. So let's just say I know there's not one departing. Here, let me go back to, well, we'll just pretend that there's one coming in here. And I know that there's not a cruise departing right now. But as you can see, let's say the cruise gets added and you have 6 days already built into here and it says May 13th. Well, what you can do to remove those days is you can go after you add the cruise, remove the dates and just say remove trip start date. And then it'll end up saying day one, day two, day three, and so on. But another thing you could do is just don't use the cruise lookup tool and instead say new event and then say cruise and then choose add cruise manually and then put in the name of that cruise. So let's just say, I'm just going to say cruise name. And then in the notes section, I'm going to build out the itinerary and I'm going to use bulleted points or something. Departure, Barcelona, uh, day one at sea, day two, Naples or whatever it might be. And that's a good way because a lot of times people will do that if they are showing different cruise itineraries. So that's one option in there too. So I hope that makes sense. If not, let me know and I can help walk through that more. Sanjay said, where does the city guide content come from? Yeah, so most of it's sourced from local tourism boards and destination marketing organizations. So that's where it is all coming from. But again, if there's anything in there too, if you want to edit it, you can. So feel free to, edit anything or add more. If there's something that you know about and it's missing, just add it in there. Lisa asks, can I reuse a proposal for multiple clients when selling a group? That's a good question. So yes and no. Well, yeah, you can, but you're going to want to do something specific. So let's say, for example, this proposal right here that we've created, a proposal can only be approved once. So if you send it to a group of people and one person approves it, it's approved for everyone. So there's a couple things you could do. You could either copy it. So you could always copy a trip entirely. So you can copy it and then, maybe customize it for that other person and then send it to them. So that's really helpful if they're looking at different prices for like cabins or things like that. You can just copy it and then send them that version. Another thing you can do is you can utilize our form tool. So I mentioned that at the beginning, but you can create a form where if I go in here and I say form, where you can give them the option. So that way they're not approving this on that trip. It's more that you're creating a form that each person can approve. So you can just link the URL to that itinerary. And we have an FAQ on that too. So I know that sounds kind of weird, but basically what you would do is you just create that form, grab the link and put it on that proposal so that each person individually can approve it via the form instead. And again, there is that FAQ that walks you through too. A lot of people said, oh, can you show how to share the trip on Facebook again? Yes. So all you're going to do is, let's see. Okay. So let's go into the trip. And then we're just going to say send. I'm going to get that trip link because that's what we want. We want that link. We want that web link. So copy web link. And then just say create. We'll just create post. And then just go ahead and paste in that URL in there. And that's all you do. And then post it. So yeah, really easy. Very quick and simple on that. Jim said, "Can I copy and paste tables from Microsoft Word? Can I paste tables or paste photos into tables?" You can paste in from other sources, but photos cannot be pasted in. Those will have to be added in the multimedia section. So that multimedia section's the only area that will recognize photos. And you can pay. Well, you can't really. You'd want to just upload them unless it's coming from a website. Then you can copy and paste them from a website. Oh, and someone asked, Dan asked, what is a charge for domain masking? So domain masking, there is not an additional charge for. So I would highly recommend you set that up if you haven't. So if you have a domain or you want to purchase a domain, you really should and get it set up in your Travefy account because it doesn't have an additional cost in Travefy. And to do that, you just want to go to your account settings. Just click into your settings here, set up your domain, and then you can choose, is this going to be your main website or do you already have a website and you're going to subdomain it? So that's all you'll do. It's pretty simple, but we also realize that a lot of people aren't used to doing domain setups. So you can also schedule time with us. We offer trainings, or not really trainings, just calls, and we'll help you get that set up too. So definitely let us know if you need any help with that at all. So another question from Helen: how can I add dates at the beginning of the itinerary for pre-cruise? Thank you for asking this because I meant to share this because I was talking about that on what happens if they want to add more dates. So there's a couple ways you can do this. So the first way is at the bottom, just click new day and then drag and drop it to the top here. So I'm just gonna drag it. Oops, hold on one second. My mouse is being weird. Hold on, let me do it this way. I'm gonna do it on this side. Okay, there we go. Well, wait. I tried a different mouse, but anyway, you pull it up to the top here. Hold on, let me try to add a different one here. I don't know why I apologize. My mouse is being pretty weird there. But what you would do is you would drag and drop it to the top. And then what you can do is you can edit that day, change the date there. And then it'll ask you, like, it'll say, do you need to move the entire trip start to this date? And no, you just need to change this date only, because then that way it will just change. It'll add all those days at the top there. But also to throw it out too, we do have an FAQ on that as well on how to do that. But also let us know if you need any help, because we can certainly help you get that set up as well. So it's good. It's good that you can easily change things. But it looks like those are all the time that we have questions for so far. But I do want to mention again that you can email us at professional@travify.com and let us know if there's any questions that you have. You can chat us in your account too. I'm actually going to be in support later today, so you might hear from me. So I can help you out there. But I just want to say thanks again for joining us here. We're really excited to start, sharing the cruises, and we're so excited for cruising to get started again and set sail, and just really pumped. And thank you so much again, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day and catch us on our next webinar.